Hello and welcome to this live session. So I have a project here that I want us to do together. It's called Sunny Bees Compass. That is the name Lavabo gave it. I can restore it back to its original state, so I can go back to that state. So it was I had this idea where I wanted to track my clients, the projects I have, and the expenses that we are incurring both in the projects and me myself as the company. So we have build a basic ERP. Uh, Actually, I can't tell you what ERP is, so let us search. Sorry. So just a basic Google search. What is ERP? ERP system. So let us see. So an enterprise resource planning system is integrated software that helps organizations manage and streamline core business processes such as accounting, procurement, human resources, and supply chain operations. So it's like a management system for like the accounting and human resource. So it's the same thing. It's just the same. These are now the terms I should be using, but I'm a developer. So Lavabo, that is what Lavabo told me. You can pause in between to see. So I'll go straight to this. So a dashboard overview with revenue, expenses, and profit metrics. We have sales trends charts. We have financial summary cards. We also have calendar functionality. This was actually amazing, and I have something I'll show you that I could integrate it together with this one. So which is appointment scheduling view. We have event management, so there is day, week, and month views. We have the navigation system. Okay, we have the sidebar for easy access to different modules. Alafu we have the clean organized layout. So let's use a professional a professional color palette with the primary, which is blue, which is business blue. We have the secondary, which is lighter blue for accents. We have the green for positive metrics, and we have warning, which is red for negative metrics. Neutrals, which is clear, white, subtle, gray for the interface. So let us see the first look, how it looked like. So this is what Lavabo created at first. So we have the dashboard, we have these cards, the revenue, expenses, profit, appointments, then we have the revenue trends, we have expense breakdown, we have all that, and then we have now the recent appointments. So this one will give you a snapshot of what you're currently working on, the things you should be looking out for. So they will all be here. You see, we have even the net profit over here. They have expenses, the tax, sorry, and total sales. Okay, we have the calendar. Have that. We have finances. So the pages were not yet created for finances, customers, reports, and settings. So this is what Lavabo said. You can pause in between. So obviously, we had these 3 steps, that is connect Superbase, visit the docs, and manage knowledge. So I went straight ahead and told it to finish up the other pages. So this is not how we should be vibe coding, but at this point I didn't care. All I wanted was just a working MVP to give me now something to work with. So Lavabo said he noticed some pages were missing, and it added the pages. So let us see. So finances now is available. Have that. This is actually some great profit. Amen to that. You have customer lists, you have the reports. This one is actually very nice, and then you have the settings. Okay, so we moved on. So tell me it has implemented blah blah blah. So I looked at the whole thing again and suggested the following changes. That is, to the side navigation should be static and the main container scrollable. So I noticed when you're scrolling, you see this part was moving. You see. Then you have fix how calendar and appointments are being rendered. So as you can see, the calendar, the date, they are leaking out to the appointments. So Lovable said it will help improve fix, and then let us see. So these changes make the site navigation static while allowing main content to scroll independently. So as you can see, it worked, but here we have some design fluctuations. So don't worry, that is the plane. You can hear the plane in the background. So all pages are like that. This one is a static one. This one is scrollable in the middle. We have this one static, like that. So the scrollable ones are scrollable still. So these changes, so we had to refactor, but I did not. So we have, do you like to refactor? Yes, we refactored it to smaller ones. So we have that. You can pause in between. Let's see. So I told it to enhance mobile view and to beautify expense breakdown chart. Let us see this one. Okay, so it said it will change again. This is not how we do it. I wasn't caring. It changed it to that. Not bad, a little bit cleaner though. See, we have that overlay. So we have comprehensive describe endpoints you'll need for the application. Write expected output for each endpoint. So let's analyze. It read all that, and then it wrote an endpoint, what it needed, like that. So at this point, I wanted to connect a database and start developing it. So that's why I was asking for this data. So we have all that. So we have so it wanted us to use Superbase as always. Then at some point I considered using a self-hosted Superbase, because as we know, for Superbase you'll need a paid version for deployment. So I wanted to see if we can use Lovable to work on my self-hosted version, but it did not work as expected. So the version is 1.2.168. 100.18. Let me see. So it's something like that. No, 118. Yeah, 192, 168, 118, 81. So I think it's rejecting. Let's see if it is online. So yeah, it's online. As you can see, this is how it looks. So it's pointing out to, I've used Cloudflare to deploy it. So I'll connect with this. I don't think I'll use this one though. So yes, I'll make a video on how to create to self-host Supabase as I've done, and how you can connect, for example, Supabase that you've been to migrate your cloud Supabase to your self-hosted one. For example, when you use Lovable and you connect with Supabase, I can create a video on how you can now move your data from the cloud version to your self-hosted one, and how you can migrate your project to the self-hosted one. Yeah, so hit the subscribe button and hit a like and make it change it to all, so that you can receive all notifications on upcoming videos. So back to this. So it told me yes, it can interact with self-hosted using this. It can write code, but it will relate the URL and whatever. But it said it recommends me using the native integration first, because it provides better development experience. This is because they have automated it. They have automated the process with Lovable. So yes, I tried to convince it, but as we all know, that it was in vain. So it added dummy data, I guess, enhanced pages. So let us see what I told it. So I'll be using my own backend and database, so just focus on your UI UX. Actually here I think I decided to use Python. So because I'm proficient in Python, I decided to use Python to do this. So fill the pages with dummy data, so that I know how to structure the backend and database. Also, make sure to add customer and adding finances, income and expenses are working too. They are working too, and if they are just dummies too. So it read through the files and suggested the enhanced pages. Those ones we have, those ones, and then the working forms. Then all files are fully functional dummy data and all that. So let us see the version. So this is what was created. I have all that. Then we go to calendar. Still the leak was left. I haven't fixed this one yet. We have finances, we have all that, you see, and now we had income and we had expense. Okay, now from here I migrated from now Lovable to an external editor, an external AI editor. So I connected to it to my GitHub account. Let me open it. Sunny is compass. Okay, there we go. So this one I connected it to GitHub, and now I have it on Lovable. Here it is. You see, it's a Lovable. Welcome to your Lovable project. The same that, and I also have Z editor. This one is AI enabled. And by the way, you can use the Google extension. You can use the Google Clear extension to have the free version of the free AI editor. So this one. Okay, so I made some changes to the versions of these It's an Ibis compass. Let us see the changes. I don't know if this one offers a preview. Yes, it's offering a preview. So I think we should go to GitHub first to see what these changes were. The commits. Let's see how they're structured. Yes, so we have them here. So these ones are the ones Lovable did. Now we are here. So the first one was to add ban and environment to git ignore. So actually what I was trying to fix was when I was running it locally, there's this error that I was getting all the time about a certain extension that is out of date. So when I hit npm run dev, okay. So I think this is a different project. Sorry. Give me a minute. So here we go. Open. You can close this one now. Let me close this one for a good view. And that one. So we have the backend, we have the proposal. So those ones are files that I've generated just recently. So that is not what we want to see. So we want to look at the readme file first. Yeah, here we just open it like that. Then we hit on view. So we have this one. So it's the same with the Lovable. So here I use this one to make the edits. Okay. So let us see. I think this one will give us a good snapshot of what we did. We have the graph here. So fix calendar. Mine actually started here. So add ban and git ignore. So these were the files that were touched. We have all those. So this was, I think, was a big edit. It's just that it's not saying. So let us look at the app. We see what had changed then. So we have the dashboard like that, still the same. We have that appointment. We have finances. Let us see. Category. So let us see. Oh, I think this one I changed from customer to clients. I changed from customer to clients. Then let us see this one. You see here it was customers, and then in this version it's now clients. Then I added the project section, and then I enhanced the finance one. So I said the clients one is the highest level. So we need the client. We need a client for the whole system to work, and still we can still use finances even without a client, since even the business, for example, if I'm managing my business, I still have finances that I incur that are mine, that are not directly linked to the projects, you see. So that's why finances can still work without clients, but the other ones, the project, it must have a client for it to work. So it created something like this. So we have this client list. So we have his active, his corporate, and all that. So we can have this view. You see what we have. So the view was not working. Edit this one to delete to is not working. But from this you can see we have the name. You can see the project is active. The client is active. is corporate. The email is that. You have the number, the company, and the location. We have 15 orders. They have spent that. So they joined as client, and we have like a small note over there. So the same with the others. See, we have all that, and then we can add a new client through that, and have the client type now. Okay, so we have that. We have now the project, which is the second level after clients. You create a project so that you can manage now the finances. So we have the project. Let us see, we have the view. Nice. Here we have a view. So you have the web design. We have the client name as John Smith. Okay, we have now a complete redesign of the company website. So start date, we have 2024. You see, we have that, and we have the budget, timeline, progress down there. We have the total income, total expenses, and the net profit. And then we have now the financial transactions. We have all that, and the expenses. You see, we can still add income from there. We can still add an expense from that point. See, this is the best part of having an AI as your front-end developer. You see, so me, I'm proficient with the backend development process, and AI is good at the front-end development. So you have that. So then you have finances. You can come and add income. For now, there is no a lot of things, so it just created that. Under settings, we have all that. Okay, so let's come to the next one. You see what happened to the next one. So the next one was update burn dependency to version 1.2.22 and remove proposal document. So I had when I'm editing when I'm using AI when I'm vibe coding using AI, I tell it to create a proposal file which is in markdown format, and then I review the plan so that I now approve. If there are changes to be made, I tell it to make the changes, and it makes the changes on the proposal. Then I tell it, now I approve. It will now use the proposal as the blueprint as in its next tasks. Okay, so I have a sample here. I'll show you. You see, we have the proposal.md. So I'll show you this one when we get there. Okay, so we have, how can I edit this code? Okay, so that one is for, that's not where we are, so we are here. Okay, so that one was just a burn update. Let us see if there were a lot of files. So some further files were attached too, so some other changes were made. Okay, so this one, sorry, so this one, no changes were made. So actually I added a backend. The backend now, I usually have a backend template that I add to lovable projects, and then I develop on top of that. So I don't like giving AI 100% control of my project, so I still want that control. So I use a fast API backend to create a backend for my lovable projects. So we have that. Let us see. So this is the backend template. So this one, we have the backend template has a clean production ready fast API backend template with user management and notification system built in already. So we have user management, we have registration, authentication, email verification, and password reset. We have two-factor authentication, that is TP based two-factor authentication with backup codes, that is already built in. We have notification system, the email notifications with Redis based task queue. So there is no delays when it does not, when there's no delays in sending emails, there's no delays in sending out notifications, and when they fail, they auto recover. And then Redis makes it faster by caching data in the background. So we have security, we have disability, authentication, we have rate limiting, and we have course protection. So database, we have SQL by default, and we have Postgres ready. So you can have two sets of databases. You can have SQLite, which is now the default one, and you can also use PostgreSQL. So the system uses SQL model, and the SQL model depends on SQL Kami. So which means that the system adapts to the database you provide in your environment. So for example, when you provide the URL for a Postgres URL, when you provide a Postgres URL, the system will adapt to Postgres database. So you can, yes, you might need to make some little changes, but they are only minor changes. And also you can switch to MySQL, and you can switch to SQLite. Yeah, so SQLite is the default one. And then you have monitoring, you have health checks, and you have structured logging, and you have request tracking. Also we have auto setup, so tables are created automatically on the first run. Also on later the system, you can also use Alembic to run migrations. These are now the model updates. When you update the models that are the database fields, you can use Alembic to create those migrations. So the what you need is Python 3.8 and above, and Redis for notifications. And this one is not a must. When you don't have Redis, the system will fall back to a system that will use your RAM for notification management. Okay, so we have setup. We have that for the setup, and we have accessing the API, so you can use the docs with that, you can check the health with that, and then you have the version, the API versioning system. You also have the documentation, you have the architecture, and the API endpoints. You see, you have all that for authentication, you have for user management, you have for two-factor authentication. Then we have configurations. These are configurations are made by the environment file. So the application uses environment variables for configuration. Bootstrap creates with sensible defaults. This one. So when you run this script, I have a script I've written to automate running this project. It's called bootstrap.sh. That one is for Linux system. Systems, I'll make one for Windows later. So we have key settings, we have all that. So for development, so adding new features. So to add new features, you create a new domain in the source directory. Then you add API endpoints in the source directory, API directory, then version 1. You can have later versions. For example, when the API advances, you can continue version 2, version 3. You can use version 2 for maybe for some other services in the related system. For example, I can give you an example with AI. You can use version 2 for AI. And then you can have we have update your models, tables, and are created automatically. Yeah. So when you create new domains, when you in your new domains, when you create the model file, all you have to do is add that model file in a file inside core. It's called, I think, initdb, something of the sort. So when you when you add it there, it will auto create the tables for you. Okay, so you can also test your changes. That is by just running the applications and see whether it will run or not. You can also write tests if you do that also. So the application automatically creates database tables on startup using SQL model. So this AI was emphasizing on that a lot. So for schema changes, you do that. Production deployment, you have that. You have licensing, and also you can come and contribute, but it's not open for contribution. And you can DM if you want access to the backend, to my backend template. So let us see the architecture documentation. This one is really interesting. So I use my own way to create fast API fast API systems. So this one, I wrote it myself. I think it took me a week. um, and then so I told AI to write an architecture file in markdown format, explaining what as a documentation for the architecture of the system. So this architecture here, I got it from ChatGPT, as we were talking about how I should structure my fast API, to the best practices and all that. And then as I was developing the template, I arrived to now this architecture. So we have in the root folder, we have the main file. This is the fast API application entry point. We have the requirement file, and then we have the scripts. So here we have the bootstrap file. This one is the setup script for new projects. And then we have the source directory. Inside the source directory, we have the package initialization. So this one is to tell Python, and this one is the package. You have the API layer, same. And then we have the depths. This one is a global API dependency. So when if you are familiar with fast API, you'll know there are things we call dependencies. So the functions here, we have functions that are passed for dependencies to fetch maybe data from the database. Okay. And then we have in version 1, we have now these APIs, these endpoints. So these files are defined they are routers that define now the endpoints. So we have one for auth, we have for users, for two-factor, and now we have this one for the router aggregation. So this one combines all into one, so that when we are importing it into main.py, we import it as one file, not many. Yeah, so we have the second folder inside source. It's called core. So core carries now the shared infrastructure. So we have the init file. After that, we have the config.py. So here we have the configuration management. It's under the config. We have database configuration, and then we have custom JSON encoders. We have them there. I have written some custom encoders, and then we have some custom exceptions. We have the login configuration over there. We have custom middleware. I've added rate limiting in this backend. I've added some other features, security features. The system itself, the backend system as itself, it is it can block what do we call it? It can block the DDoS attacks very easily by itself. Okay, so that is what middleware does. We have Redis to control Redis functions, and then we have security. Here is all where some other security functions are outlined. We have utility for the utility functions, and then we have now the user domain. This is the user management system. Now we have the user database models. We use user pedantic schema over there. We have the CRUD. So this one manages the CRUD, which is the create, read, update, and delete in databases. We have the service.py for the business logic, and then we have depths for the dependencies. This one is to pass dependencies around there. And then finally we have the notification inside the source folder. This one we have the email services. This one is to provide email services. We have the notification service. This is notification orchestration. And then this one will provide the Redis queue. And then we have now the templates down there. So that is what this backend really has. So the list goes on. We have the core features. I'll just scroll so that you can pause through and get a snapshot of what the architecture.md file does. I'll provide these links. This one I won't. What will I do? So I'll provide the architecture. I'll provide a link to the architecture.markdown and the readme, and also I'll require a token if you wanted to get access to the whole source code. So you'll pay a small token if you'd like to get this source code. So I have bad news and I have good news for you about that template. So that is what I was trying to add there. So here I removed the backend submodule. So here I made some errors with you see it is a GitHub by itself. So I cloned it to my local repository, and then I committed with it having the git inside. So Git interpreted it as a sub module. So I had to remove the sub module here, and then I added now let us go back to, so you can see here I removed the backend, I removed the submodule, and then now I added the management features. So as you can see here, I had now added the backend. This is now the backend template as it is, like that. So when I commit, it said I implemented CRUD, all that. Now this one I was doing it today, and on some previous projects I've done with Lovable, I usually do what I've done. I add the backend folder. As you can see here, I add the backend folder to the project, and then I come to Lovable and tell it I've attached my first API backend. Since it's a template, it comes with some features built in already, like the house page. Sorry, that was a mistake. I should have said like the auth system or something. So create those auth pages and link it to the first API backend. So what Lovable told me was, I understand you have a fast API backend with auth functionality, but I need to recommend using this one, integration itself connecting to external backends. So Lovable so it went on and told me that I should be using Supabase instead, and it cannot use my fast API. So I insisted again, but I got the same backlash. So I've told you on my previous projects I've been able to do this, and it has worked, and it edited my entire project. So here I was shocked and I was like, wow, what is happening? And as I thought it through, I was saying maybe it's because I had asked it about self-hosting Supabase here, and maybe it now triggered that it should be using that. But when you come here on some other projects I've done, I can't see one. I can't see the one I'm looking for. Okay. Alright. So now the last version. After it refused, I went to Z again. I was using Gemini CLI which does not save the history. Does not save the history, sadly. So I went back to it, and now I created this. I integrated it in the front end, and now you have this sweet logging over here. You cannot now access the system without logging in. And actually now this the system now is here. This is now how the system looks. We have now our backend. Okay, then we have our front end over here. So let us run the system. You see, so this is how I'm running the. First of all, I had to run npm install to now install the dependencies on the system, so that when I can run now the system on my, I can run now the web application or the website on my machine. Then after that, I used npm run dev to start up the application. So let me add a new terminal now for the backend. So for the backend, you enter the backend folder, and then for the first time you will run this command .scripts backend.sh. This one is for the Linux users, since I'm a Linux user, but I'll create one for Windows users and Mac users later, and obviously I'll use AI. And then now that I have that, so it creates the script creates an environment, and then it creates it installs the dependencies, and it creates the database, so that when you run the project for the first time, it creates now the database app.db. Mine has created the database since I've already run the project before. So let us run. So I'll start by activating the environment. Then I use uvcon port 8000, and I always use reload in case I made some changes. So we have that. Okay, that's a good one. So let's go back to npm and visit the application. Okay, so it's taking its sweet time. So you see, you can either log in with our username or our email. So actually there I'll have to fix. So we have login. Okay, so you see it has stuck to email. So okay, it's good. We have login. So I already signed up a while ago, so we don't have the logout functionality yet. Still okay. So this is the dashboard. It still uses dummy data. That's how it looks. You see. So I went on to the AI and told it I want let us see which one came first. Yeah, so this one was the front end authentication. How I connected, I told AI to connect. I see proposal for front end authentication integration. There is this part on Lovable. It's this one, integrate front end authentication. So this is the proposal that the AI generated for me. So I'll scroll, I'll just go through it. You can pause in between to read through. So this document outlines the plan to integrate the existing Fast API authentication system to the system with the React front-end application. So overall system, the goal is to create a seamless and secure authentication experience. With the strategy involves, we have all that. You have the front-end integration plan. You have all that. You'll pause through to read. Have that. So all these, what it did, it went through the backend and understood how it is outlined, came back to the front end and see how what it has, what it doesn't have, and now it wrote all these plan. Then this, and actually this is free, all this is free. So this one for Gemini, if you want to use Gemini, what you do is on your terminal or your CMD, you run npm install, what was it, I go, is it Google or something? Let's see, let us just browse here. It is Gemini Clee, yeah, like that. So you open the first one, so we have Gemini Clee here. So you just copy it and come here and you paste. So it will run, you let it finish. After it finishes, you can expand this for the best experience, then you write Gemini like that. So for your case, it will take you to the browser directly. For mine, I've already connected it, and if it happens you've connected it and you want to change the authenticated account, or maybe you have run out of tokens and you want to change your Google account, what you do is you type /auth like that, hit click, then you say login with Google, you hit enter. It will open a page for you to log in with your credentials. So, and everything is free. Okay, so we have that proposal. So this is what we used, and then I approved this proposal, and that's how we ended up with a good authentication that you just saw me go past through. So here it won't work, so you can see how the sign up page looks like. So you have the email, you have the username, you have password, and you have confirm password. Now I've told it again to create a backend file to outline how the backend will look like. So let us see what it wrote. So we have the backend API contract and data model guide. So this document describes the data models, relationship, and expected API endpoints for backend developers, building a system compatible with the Sunny Bees Compass frontend. So data models, we have user, represents a user account in the system. User specific settings and are stored in the extra data field as a JSON string. So in the in the backend template, we have this database field that is JSON, that is called extra data. So extra data, it allows to add your own extra data there dynamically, and AI has used it to add the user preferences that are usually on the settings page. So we have the theme, we have notifications, this is the email alerts, push notifications, either they have enabled, we have the SMS alerts, we have the weekly reports, you have the new client alerts, all that. You see, we have ours, the security. So it has also outlined that it is based on the SRC user the TypeScript file. We have now the backend and the backend file. Next we have the business profile. This is how the business profile will look like, but here there's an error, so this one is the owner ID, but for me I'll use the user ID, since the business profile will be linked to the user ID. Then I'll reduce this email, or maybe user ID only, since the company can have its own email and can have its own phone. So so that is under the setting. Let me show you. So when you come here to settings, you can see the business information, company name, owner, email, phone, address, that. So when I add that to my backend, I'll have that to work with. Now we have subscription. This one contains details about the businesses, subscription plan, and paying. So we have this one is now when we add the pay one. So we have the business ID. This one, the business ID is now from this one. Then you have the plan. We have the status, next billing date, price, currency, and the payment method. So this one, let me show you where it's from. So when you scroll down, you'll see the billing and subscription. So this one I'll create now the billing section, where you can now change plan, you can cancel subscription, you can update payment method, and all that stuff. So we have that. We have the client. So this client, now you have user ID, you have all that about the client. Now this one is coincides with this page. So this one is this information will be used to populate this page. We have project. You have that, user ID, name, all that. So this one will be used for this part, project. So you see how good, you see all that, how good it will look. And then you have now the transaction. So this one is now about finances. So you have his ID, description, all that amount. And then something else we have here is the project ID, so that you can link it back to the project. You see? Okay. So this one will be under finances over here. I think also what it was adding was, if I'm not wrong, you see here we can add a project. See, marketing. So this one we can select a project, so that in such a way that we can link this income into a certain project. You see? So for client 2, the client list, I don't think there's anything you're linking it to. So the client is the highest level. But for projects, when I create a new project, I'm selecting a client I can link to. You see? Okay. Finances, income, select a project. So I don't think I can add an income without selecting a project. So this one I'll fix, since I should be able to create finances without anything, and can also be supposed to create a project for my own company. So here for the list of project, for the list of client, I should be able to see myself here. Are we together? Should be able to see myself there. So I'll definitely work on that. So we have the transaction there. And then finally you have appointment. So I'll show you what I was saying that I can use for appointment. So appointment looks like this in my calendar right now. See. Then currently in my website, we have this AI over here. So this is a fully working AI, and its purpose there is to talk to potential clients or prospect these leads. So when you come to this website and you've scrolled, you've read through, and you're like, okay, I'll want to know more about this stuff, so you can come here and chat with the AI. So the AI is intelligent about now this agency of mine, or rather the company of mine, Binary Craft Technology. So it knows what you can do and how you operate, and anyone it should contact. So when you talk to it, and it will finally tell you to it will finally urge you to take a 30-minute consultation, live session, a consultation, and it books. It currently checks my Google Calendar whether for the time I'm free, then it suggests to you. So my people will be free at this and this time. So when do you want to schedule yours? So when you give your time and your time zone, it will then check whether I'll be available at that time. When I'm available, it will create a calendar event, and then it will notify me via email. Let us see these emails so that you can understand what I'm saying. So I can still redirect this one I'm using N10 for this job. I'm using N10 for this job. So I can still redirect these. You can see here I'm having some failing nodes. They are being emailed to me. So what you're interested in is seeing these sent emails at some point. So we have sent. As it's opening, let us see what you have here. So you have several. So this one is what manages this website of mine. So it is for this contact form, and this agent, that is this assistant that is responding to queries on my website. So as you can see, so when you send a message using this part, the contact form, it goes through this workflow here. So it will acknowledge you, and then it will notify me about now you, the new lead. And then we have the agent over here. It uses Google Gemini, and then it can send emails. It has the PG vector store, Postgres vector store. It has access to calendar. It has a calendar assistant, you see, so it can create, update events, all that. So it can actually, for if you set, you can come back to the bot. It has memory. It can remember. You see here we have memory, and this memory is tied to you, so it can remember you, and it can adjust now the meeting time. If you change your mind, you can come to it and tell it, change my meeting to this and that. And then finally here I have a place to add on to the information of my agency here, using a form where I upload PDFs. So that is the automation I have. So here I can add, on top of that, I can add APIs to this system, so it adds new appointments for me. So instead of me coming to add manually, I use that system, and that AI. When people communicate on my website, the appointments are marked here on my calendar, and then can view them on my so this one later I can add the notifications, the way you can see here. You see here that this app is asking for permissions for notifications, and then I allow. So I get desktop notifications. I can allow it on my phone and get notifications on my phone when applications are due, you see. So all that is possible, and I'm going to do it in the next few days. So that is for appointment. All these they are just data. Those are words. and dates and duration. So this one is data that AI can fill in very easily and very quickly. So we also have, they also wrote me, the AI also wrote me a relationship map. We have user. This is one-on-one relationship to business profile, like that is as owner. Remember, as I told you that the owner ID is supposed to be user ID. So we have the business profile, that is a one-on-one with subscription. So the business profile is what carries the subscription. It makes sense. Okay, you can have maybe manage multiple businesses. So we'll think about that. Okay, we have user and client. So user to client. So I think what it means here is that a user can have many clients, and a user can have many projects. One user can have many transactions, one user many project appointments. You get the vibe. Project, all that. Then you have the API endpoints. You have the REST example. Since I'll be using the REST, so you have the authentication. You have business profile settings. That is for get and update. You have client. For clients, we have get clients, get ID. We have listing all of them, getting my ID, creating client, all that. Project, transaction, appointments. Then you have notes down here. Let us read them out and see what and hear what they have. So all primary resources are scoped to authenticated user or their business account. And then we have user specific settings are stored in extra data JSON field for the of the user model. References, we have references to files over here. So for questions, refer to proposal. For business logic and hierarchy details. So I don't think at this point it had not yet seen what is in proposal, or maybe I don't know. So now you can ask it to maybe create a proposal for that backend implementation. You see what it does, but that won't be the point since the backend is now a sophisticated system. So what I'll do later on, I'll try to record it, is I'll start now working on the backend manually without AI now, and I'll use maybe AI for testing or maybe debugging, but I'll develop everything now manually by myself. Let me show you, for example, the CRUD, how it looks like. So you have this one. You have the CRUD. You have that create user. You have all that. You have the errors. These are read operations. You have get by email, by username, get by username or email. All those verified tokens. This one. I have all that. So it's a very big file. So actually what I do with this one is I create the whole system and give it like the idea and the raw idea, and then I use AI now to enhance. I tell AI now to enhance the code and now improve the quality of the code. So that is what I've done with this one. So I created the base system, a working system where it was a system management system, and now I told the AI now to improve the quality of the code, and now it added some new features. It improved how the code was written, but actually this type hinting is a style I usually use. So when I'm writing manual code, I'll show you when I write the module. Actually, I'll record a video about the module. So I'll record the raw the raw code that I've written manually, and then after AI has improved the quality. So we see the difference. So this one, AI has already improved the quality. So the backend template, the whole thing is AI improved. It was written manually at first, but AI improved later. So we have dependencies. So this one, it just fetched from services.py, but it made it available so that you can import it from depths instead of going to the services and looking for them there. So you have get current user, and then you have get current active user and user. Actually, this is, don't know what's happening with that. Okay, so you have models over here. So for models, my style is I define the data in schema, then I use models now for the database to define what will be stored inside the database. So for schema, I'll define the base data. The base data is what everything has, and then I'll now start breaking it down. Let me show you what I'm saying. So for example, for the here I have all the enums. This one, so this one is for active, whatever. I have the user roles, and then now I have user base. So for user base, I have all these fields. So these ones appear everywhere in the incoming data, outgoing data, like that. So that's why they are included there. So we have the create. So this one, this one defines the data that comes in from now the front end. So you see it inherits from user base, then it adds its own data on top. So this data is not used in any other than user create. That's why it's here. You see that. And then you have user update, and then you have at times you can see like user update, you'll get that it has mixed up data, so you just create your own as long as the user fields are the same as the database one. You see. So for SQL, you see here I have user base. When you go to models, you'll see that models is inheriting from user base, then it uses table as true. So you have that. So yeah, see you next time. And by next time is when I have now is that backend retrieve, when I now have the business profile and the clients. That is the raw code. I'll first present the raw code, and then after the next video will be after AI has improved it. Okay, so coding is very, very, very good, makes you feel better. Just working with data and determining how it flows. See how this is just raw data that is being translated to these beautiful visuals. See all this is all data. Look at this dashboard over here, premium stuff. So let me see if it is mobile responsive first. So not really. I see some elements are leaking, but yeah, it's a good start. See, it is not overflowing. Yeah, but it still needs some work. So that's no big. I'll work on that. Yeah, adios muchachos.